So this is the last drafting discussion forum, the introduction and abstract. Usually, I don't want to say the easiest to write, but I think there's a lot of misconception about writing in general. And one of those things is the idea that you write an introduction and a thesis and all these things first, and then you write your paper. And it's just really difficult to write a paper, to introduce a paper that you haven't written. That's bizarre. So typically, what most writers do is they just write. And as you know, when you write, you sometimes end up in all these different places. Um, so it's best to write, get your ideas out, shape all those ideas, and then go back and set up what it is you actually are going to talk about in the paper, right? I think if you try to write an introduction and a fixed claim in the introduction, you end up trying to force everything, sort of put everything, a square peg in a round hole. It doesn't work, it doesn't fit, and then you get frustrated, and you don't realize that you can just scrap that and change things around. Writing is actually super flexible, so just make it work for you. And I think writing introductions, at the end, um, are more effective. You can always have a couple statements, like we have a central question that's driving our research. That's kind of working as like a working introduction, so to speak. Um, but now that you've got the paper drafted out, you've got results, methods, you've got discussion, you want to go back and set up what it is you're doing in this final paper, right? You want to talk about the research question. You might even want to pull a little bit of the annotated bib intro material into this and bolster and shape. But set up this question, tell us what you did a little bit for the research. Tell us what we're going to read in the paper, some of the main points and ideas you're going to make. But that's what an introduction does. It's like a signpost. And go back to the Rosenberg article that we read in the very beginning of the course, where she discusses what introductions do, why they do it. Use that as a model. Use the other introductions that you've been reading through the whole quarter, right? You've been learning about what introductions do, why they do it. Here's your opportunity to demonstrate some facilitation of knowledge. Remember that this paper and all of its different sections are opportunities for you to facilitate your knowledge of the course. How well did you digest all of this material? Essentially the MRAD and the outline and structure for these scientific articles are important knowledge that you need to bring with you as you become a better scientific writer. And then the abstract, I'm sure you've noticed looking through research, is like a little movie trailer right into the paper. So a lot of times you can pull some statements from your intro and build an abstract, but an abstract is like 50 words, right? Sometimes even shorter. And what you'll notice is that it gives you a preview of what's inside the paper, and you can kind of make a determination if you wanted to keep reading it or you wanted to download it, or if it's going to work with your research process. So that shouldn't be too difficult to get a little draft out, but abstracts are actually really tough to write because they're so concise. So that'll give you a little bit of practice working with abstracts. And just remember, intros and abstracts have a little bit of similarity. They're definitely not the same thing, but they can kind of pull from each other. So you can work on those two things in this final discussion, and then we'll pull all of this together into a final paper peer review, and then you'll turn this in to me next week, and then that will conclude the class. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm here to help you all the way to the end. All right.